There's a new nicotine product that's making its way to young Aussies.
Have you ever heard of nicotine pouches?
Yes. Yeah.
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 Yes.
Yeah.
Yes? 3 yeses?
I've heard that they're a little big in Europe, Sweden, I think I've seen stuff about.
Oh, I know that they're like very dangerous. Yes, snus, something that you put in your, upper gum where your lips are for a nicotine hit.
How did you first hear about them?
Social media, TikTok.
Video game players, how they were doing it during competitions and how that got banned.
Those Stanley videos, it's like crack my Stanley and they put the Zyns in them.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So they're illegal to sell in Australia, but to actually import them into Australia, it's pretty easy to do.
And do you think it's getting more popular?
Yes, by the demand. There's these new flavours, there's these new variations, different kinds, different packaging and everything. It's ridiculous.
Someone just handed it to me and I was just like, what's that?
Zyns, snus, nicotine pouches, whatever you want to call these products. It's clear that a lot of young people know what we're talking about. In fact, last month, exploratory research out of the University of Melbourne showed 77% of the young Australians surveyed were aware of these products. On top of that, around a quarter of adolescents and young adults said they had used nicotine pouches, and about 1 in 5 had used them in the last 30 days. But before we go any further, let's clarify what a nicotine pouch actually is.
So nicotine pouches are this relatively new thing that we're starting to see coming into Australia.
This is Dr. Danielle McMullen. She's a GP and the president of the Australian Medical Association.
And they're these usually little white tea bag kind of pouches that are full of nicotine, which is a harmful drug, but also lots of fun flavours that are making them attractive to children and young people. And they're a pouch that people use by putting between their lip and their gum. So that dissolves the nicotine into your bloodstream. And we're really worried as doctors about the effects that that's going to have on the health of the people using them.
They were created by tobacco companies.
And this is Associate Professor Michelle Jonganellis, who led the research out of the University of Melbourne.
These products do contain a lot of nicotine, but also varying amounts of nicotine. Some pouches might have like 20 milligrams and others might have 2 milligrams, so really a wide variety.
So what can this amount of nicotine do to us?
It's like wildly addicting and like gives you like head rushes.
It actually makes me very sick.
And you may have even seen you or your mates who've used them feeling nick sick. It makes your heart rate go up, and so it's harmful for your heart, and you feel sick, you feel faint, and that's a really unpleasant experience.
But yeah, like I'll literally feel like I'm about to pass out when I take it.
Nicotine, through its effects on your heart and your blood pressure and those things, also often contributes to anxiety. And we know that young people at the moment already are living really stressful lives, and we're seeing more rates of anxiety and depression and mental illness. And in fact, use of nicotine can make that worse.
It makes you, I wouldn't say depressed, or it gets you lazy, lethargic in a sense.
Nicotine can also cause lifelong damage to developing brains.
Young people's brains are much more active. You're learning stuff all the time, and your brain is mapping out how the world works. So any drug or chemical or any other interference with that process can damage how those connections are made and set up difficulties down the track, either with learning or with mental health problems, and that instability in your brain.
I've heard it linked to, I think it was either lip or mouth cancer, I'm pretty sure.
They have been found to contain chemicals that are listed as being potentially carcinogenic, so cancer-causing. When you think about the fact that you are putting a pouch containing chemicals in your mouth, it sort of makes logical sense to me that we will see some oral health issues.
Also because they're reasonably new, like compared to maybe vapes that have been around for longer. People don't really know what they do.
Despite the health risks and the unknown long-term impacts, nicotine pouches have been available overseas for a while. So why are we now starting to see them in Australia?
It's like harder to get these vapes and stuff, so you turn to something easier, which is nicotine pouches in this case.
And all my friends are using it. Rather than vaping, rather than smoking, I guess they're using that instead.
Adolescents in particular were telling us that the price of e-cigarettes had gone up because of the new laws. And so they were sort of looking for something that they could use instead to either, help with their nicotine cravings if they were addicted to vapes or, just because they felt like it. And so nicotine pouches seem to be sort of filling that gap.
I think you see some popular people use them now, especially like sports people.
I don't know if it's actually used to stop people smoking.
I think that they help with smoking addiction, but I'm not 100% sure.
Well, in some cases, nicotine pouches are being endorsed by athletes and influencers online, suggesting that not only are they safer alternatives to smoking or vaping, but that they can actually be used to help quit, even though there is no evidence to support either of these claims.
One of the things we use is something called nicotine replacement therapy, and that's things you might have seen in the supermarket like Nicorette or other brands that have small doses of nicotine to help people come off of cigarettes. That's very different to these nicotine pouches that have huge doses of nicotine in it and really aren't built to help you quit smoking, because they've got flavours that you then really want to keep trying, and they're really pushing the marketing.
And it makes sense because that's what the industry does. The industry sees that the sale of its products is being restricted in some way, and it's not going to just take that lying down. It's going to pivot and go, what else can we do to get through these laws and exploit these loopholes? And so they've quietly shifted to sort of the nicotine pouches, even though these products are illegal.
Yep, buying and selling these products in Australia is illegal, unless you have a prescription from your doctor. But is that stopping people getting their hands on them?
Honestly, you could just go down to one of the vape stores. Yeah, you easily just ask for some Zyns and they give it to you.
We both play club sport. You see a lot more people kind of do it, a lot more people offer them.
The Australian government says it's concerned about the rising profile of nicotine pouches in Australia, has reinforced that these are only legally available to patients with a prescription, and says it will continue to take strong enforcement actions. And earlier this year, Health Minister Mark Butler wrote to Meta requesting the company remove advertising for the pouches on Facebook and Instagram. But some health experts are calling for more to be done to limit the accessibility of nicotine pouches, and for an increase in education about the health impacts.
We don't really need to change the laws around them because it's already illegal. What we need to do is enforce the law better.
It's disgraceful that that these companies are marketing to children and young people. These aren't products that are safe. What started out seeming like it would be a fun habit and they tasted good, pretty quickly they realise they feel yuck when they don't have it, but then they also feel yuck when they do, and life just kind of isn't as good anymore.
Nicotine's not good for you, so if you're feeling that side effects, just don't do it.
I've definitely seen a lot of close people to me addicted, and yeah, you can tell it's not good for them because they always need to have a hit or something.
Yeah, well, it's very, very addictive substance that, can ruin people's lives.
Yes.